We begin our Bears Now mailbag with a question from Matt Forte. Shout out to the legend. He says, with Marcedes Lewis back in the fold, who should the Bears sign next? So I got 5 guys I'm monitoring here with this question. Calais Campbell continues to be my top guy. Gives you some 3-tech edge, kind of hybrid ability there. Been productive in recent years. Yannick Ngakoue had a down year with the Bears, but I still think he'd be a good fit. Knows the scheme. He's been training. Appears to be healthy. Emmanuel Ogbah, another edge that I would be open to as well. He's had some injuries the last couple of years, but he's still pretty solid. Connor Williams later on, potentially, depending on, A, when he's healthy, and B, what the interior of the offensive line looks like. I got big questions at center and right guard entering training camp. And then a guy we haven't talked about a ton, but Abdullah Anderson. I think he's the... unless you want to put Calais Campbell into that interior defensive line category. After him, Abdullah Anderson, I think, is the best interior defensive lineman still out there. Has graded well per PFF the last few years, so he could be a decent rotation guy as well. Who should it be? Name a free agent the Bears should sign next. Who do you guys think Chicago should bring on board? I would like to see... someone along that defensive line, whether it's an edge or a defensive tackle, then again later on, keep an eye on Connor Williams. PD is next up here. Does Dom Rob make this roster? And if not, who would take his spot? Dominic Robinson. I mean, the way I'm looking at edge rusher, I mean, obviously Montez Sweat's going to make this team. DeMarcus Walker's going to make this team. Those are 2 that are locks. Austin Booker's a lock as a rookie, 5th-round pick. So that's 3. A, it depends how many they carry, and B, how does Dom Rob look? I mean, he's kind of in that next grouping of himself. You've got Jacob Martin, who they signed in free agency. They also have Khalid Kareem as well. I still think they might sign a veteran. So if you're Dom Rob, you're hoping the Bears don't sign one of these vets, because if you do, be on the outside looking in. The Notcast, can you give a hypothetical record if Caleb Williams pulls an A-Rod and Tyson has to start every game? Could we see a party scenario with how elite our offense is? Appreciate the super chat. I think you're more so saying with how the weapons are, could he come in there and kind of just be like this elite game manager? I think it's maybe a possibility. To Purdy's level, that's probably asking a lot. I do think Purdy has limitations, but he's been pretty good for San Francisco. And, you know, I'm excited about Waldron, but Kyle Shanahan's way more proven as a play caller. And 2, let's not put a scenario in the air with Caleb Williams gets hurt or gets popped using roids. Is that the reference you're using with A-Rod? I'm not sure. But he's got to stay ready, Bagent does. You know, he's 1 snap away from being the starter. So, you know, the Bears are lucky to have him as an undrafted free agent. Doesn't cost very much. Subscribe and join us if you want to be a part of these live mailbags. You got to join us live every Monday and Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and this is when we answer your questions. ACG with the $5 super chat. Did you see the Windy City Prods Hard Knocks intro, counting down the days for the season? Can't wait. Yeah, he does a nice job with those video montage, hype videos, whatever you want to call them. Good dude. I've talked to him a couple times. So, yeah, he's very good at that stuff as a video editor. Very talented guy. So that hyped me up. I mean, I think I quote tweeted it, and I said something like, HBO should just pay him for the intro. I mean, you don't even need a different one. So it's pretty cool. I can't wait for Hard Knocks. Lucas Prang, would you trade a 3rd for Josh Sweat at the deadline? Potentially, yeah. I mean, he was a guy that the Bears were, you know, kind of rumored to potentially trade for, and, you know, things kind of got settled there in Philadelphia. But I think the Bears will certainly be a team again at the deadline that's looking to upgrade its roster, and a pass rusher might be a position where they do that, depending on how it's performing, you know, the first half of the season. Get yourself a Caleb Williams jersey. We're hoping he performs well this season. Chatsports.com/Caleb. That link is in the comments and in the description. You got the navies, the whites, the oranges available to pre-order right now. Should get them before the start of the season. Click and shop today at chatsports.com/Caleb. Plenty of sizes available for pre-order right now. Chatsports.com/Caleb. Hey, could even be an early Christmas present for somebody. That way you don't have to worry about it last minute in December like I usually do. Edward, who is our kick returner this year? If Velus Jones makes the team, I 100% expect him to be the kick returner. If he doesn't, you got options like Khalil Herbert. You could look at a guy like Tyler Scott potentially. I wouldn't rule out some other names, but I think those are a few guys. But if Velus is on the team, he will absolutely be returning kicks. Mike Nintendo Master, any undrafted free agents to make the 53-man roster? I mean, the one guy I predicted after they signed their UDFAs was Keith Randolph, but didn't hear his name much at OTAs or minicamp, so we'll see if when the pads go on if he's able to show something. But Ian Wheeler's another name I'd throw out there, the running back. He's shown some pop as a special teamer early on here, so maybe he's a guy that makes the team as a depth special teams, running back hybrid. Xavier Soup. Then we'll get to ACG's super chat. He says, does a deal for Tevin Jenkins look similar to what we gave Nate Davis? Cut Davis next season, pay Jenkins, and slide Bates or Karan Amagaji or a rookie in Nate's spot. All that's possible. I think if Jenkins has a healthy year, though, and plays well, he'll get more than Davis, which was 3 years and $30 million. I think he'd get at least 15 a year because the guard market has exploded. Now, that's very much dependent on him having a healthy year. If he's banged up again, then you probably would get him on a discount. So keep that in mind. But yeah, unless Davis comes out and plays well this year and shows he is a reliable and good player consistently, he probably gets cut next year because it's only a $2 million dead cap penalty. ACG Super Chat, appreciate it. Do you think they look to keep or sign another safety to back up Brisker or Byard, or do you think they're comfortable with Hicks? Well, they did sign one. Jonathan Owens, the husband of Simone Biles, has been primarily a starter the last couple of years with the Texans, then the Packers. He started over 30 games. So kind of an ideal third safety. Not great as a full-time starter, but if he has to step in and play, pretty good as that number 3 guy. So I think he's your third safety, and then Hicks is, battling with guys like Tarvarius Moore and others to make this team as the fourth safety. I would think he makes it because A, he has experience, and B, he's a pretty good special teams player. Who's your favorite current Bears player currently on the roster at this exact moment? If you had to pick one guy, who is it? Drop his name in the comments below. I would go either DJ Moore or Jalen Johnson. That could become Caleb Williams pretty quickly, but want to see him play first. Bears goated. Do the Bears have the best skill position groups in the league on offense and defense? It's hard to see that without games being played. On paper, it's pretty damn good. I think this back seven's one of the best in the NFL. Secondary is awesome. Linebacker group's really good. And then your receivers and tight ends are terrific on paper. Got to see them all play, though, together. But it's very possible that they're among the tops in the league at skill group positions on both sides of the football. Fear the Squid, looking ahead at the QBs in our division, what is your early comp to J.J. McCarthy and Jordan Love? Want to know who we'll be dealing with the next decade. I mean, I don't think he's as good as Rodgers, but he kind of plays like him, right? Jordan Love can flick that wrist. It's a strong arm. He's mobile. Hopefully he's not as good as Rodgers was, but he finished last season on a heater. I would say Love is a more reckless Rodgers, like more turnovers certainly, but that's kind of his play style. Maybe he's more like Favre in that sense, where he's going to make a lot of big plays, but he's going to have a lot of turnovers too. Who knows? Unfortunately, it looks like another good Packers quarterback. But, he was up and down last year, so we got to see him do it for a full season. McCarthy, I think if he becomes high-level Alex Smith, that's probably a success for Minnesota. I don't think he's quite the runner Smith was, but pretty close. Good athlete. Slightly stronger arm, but not probably as accurate. So we'll see. I think McCarthy needs to sit for a year. I still think he's pretty raw. Not a lot of attempts in college based on the offense he was playing with. So I think those are high-end comps for those two, obviously. Jaron Thomas, what week do you see Caleb Williams have at his breakout game? I mean, hopefully week 1. Tennessee on paper is not a great team, so hopefully he balls out. But in terms of a big-time game where it's okay, this guy's arrived, you got an opportunity in week 2 down in Houston against C.J. Stroud and the boys. You go out there, go toe-to-toe with Stroud, that would make a statement. against the Rams in Week 4, that's another option as well. The Notcast, could you see a Sanborn breakout? He gets no love. I mean, define breakout, because I would argue he kind of is what he is, right? He's a good linebacker. He's never going to be great because he has limited athleticism, but he's never going to be a bad player because he's a very instinctive player. He's a great number 3 linebacker who I think can be a really good number 2. Like, don't get me wrong, the ceiling and the upside of Tremaine Edmunds and TJ Edwards is definitely better than just TJ Edwards and Jack Sanborn, but if it was just Edwards and Sanborn, you could get by with that pairing. There's no doubt in my mind. So great luxury as your number 3 guy, can step in and be a full-time starter if needed. Follow me on Instagram if you have any more questions. It's at HGrahamNFL. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support you guys continue to show me as we continue to grow, as we cover more Bears content. We'll continue to provide all of that here on the channel, but also on social media at HGrahamNFL.